We were just starting in Alpha, and we had those months where we were prepping and we were getting our leaders together, and we're doing it in our school. The first week, it went great. We got some new people, the pizza arrived on time, and then COVID happened second week, and we had to shut everything down.
The first thought was like, oh, like how are we gonna keep doing this, even like if we're not able to do it in person?
I'm like extremely extroverted, so being stuck at home and not being able to go out was definitely something that detrimentally affected my emotions a lot.
We got a call from one of the youth pastors saying, hey, what if we did something online? There was that disappointment, but it was quickly followed by that next part, which was, hey, we can do something new.
A lot of us also just went and texted friends like, hey, have you heard of Alpha?
So I had a friend named Emily who ended up coming. I've known her since kindergarten, I want to say. And then this past year in January, a close friend of ours who had also grown up with us ended up taking his life. Because of that, her and I were reconnected, and she started asking just a lot of questions about faith and life and God and about like what happens once we're done here. So I decided to invite her to Alpha.
Joel, he was the leader, and he jumped into our breakout room and said, I think we need to pray for someone who has pain in the chest. And when he came in and said that, I was like, oh, no way, that's me, right? But as we sat there for a few seconds, I really felt that like the Holy Spirit was like, no, this is you. You should share your experience, because there's a possibility that other people have the same experience, and maybe hearing this can help them grow as well. I just felt a joy that I can't even recall that I ever felt before.
I remember I'd just been like praying and praying that she would have an experience or an encounter with Christ that would just change her. And I remember it was just after the Alpha weekend. She called me and she's like, Sarah, I have something to tell you. And I was like, yeah, like what's up? She's like, I was praying alone in my room and I felt this hand grab mine. And I don't know, like I know that God is real and that he loves me.
I'm just getting chills thinking about it because people don't normally open up when you ask them like the really deep questions about what is the Holy Spirit. I think, he really showed up and he started to stir people's hearts to ask those kind of questions, and the conversation became really rich, and people just kept asking questions and questions, and we couldn't put a time limit on it. People just kept talking after the breakout rooms.
And then by the time that like Alpha ended and we ended up running a second one, she was there as a leader. And it's things like that with like my friend that just like remind me that God was still moving. Even though we were like across the city, like we could still be praying for each other, and like the Holy Spirit was still doing what he does, even though like we weren't physically together. And it kind of just like reaffirmed to me just how good like God is, and that like he's always on the move.
To people who think like, oh, online Alpha might not be as good as Alpha, I just have to say that God is limitless, and there's nothing that can hold him back.
Going into the next year, we're going to run it with a lot of faith and a lot of boldness, because God showed us that there's no limitations. We could be through a screen, we could be in person. If God is going to do something, he's going to do it. And he's not going to stop at anything to make it work. That's what hit us the most, like, hey, we're willing to do this. And so God was like, okay, let's do it.